Hello and welcome to my review of the Orks Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. One of the best names for any model Games Workshop has ever come up with. I absolutely love it. A Squigbuggy. Yes, it fires squigs at the enemies. Can you believe it? One of these models will set you back £30 and it's the same price as all of the other buggies that are available for Orks. The format of this video is we'll have a look at the buggy up close, we'll look at all the detail on those beautiful little squiggly beasts, we'll go through some size comparisons with inferior squigless models, finally settling down to going through all of the rules and talking about bile squigs, bitey squigs and boom squigs and even sticky squigs. This is going to be a funny review, guys. I love it. This is one of my favourite looking models in all of the Ork range, just because they've just crammed in a load of squigs in the back. That's the main reason. Let's have a look at these squiggly beasts. You've got these squiggly beasts, you've got grots, you've got boys, you've got war bosses, and you know, it goes up and up and up. But this buggy is really, really cool. They could have left it without the kill saws or the buzz saws, but no. The Games Workshop decided to add these on there too. I'm not really sure how these work because they barely come out of the tyres. Maybe they extend. I'd like to think that they extended. Why didn't Games Workshop give you an option to either have them retracted or deployed? I'm not sure. I would have had them deployed fully out, ready to just cut people in half. That would be my preference always. I think the grille is a bit funky as well, nothing to protect the radiator. I would have liked something along there. This is a bit strange as well, it's just like an empty hole. I guess it's to do with the engine in there, but it's quite a short engine stack as well. Considering that it has to carry an awful lot of things. You've got an Ork boy driving it, you've got a Gretchen sort of tapping his head, holding on to the big squig launcher. Yes, there's a little angry squig in there. The gear stick is in the shape of a stick bomb, which is maybe slightly worrying. Let's have a little close up and zoom of this detail. The Ork itself has like a bitey squig on the end of a stick, it seems, just attached to it. You've got a little squig there holding on, just chilling out. On for the ride. Then you've got this awesome looking Ork with his sawn off shotgun. Maybe it's a super shotgun from Doom, with the smallest Gretchen I've ever seen. This thing is tiny. He needs a model of his own. He needs a base of his own. You know, you don't have to glue him on there. There's no like holes or pegs for him, so feel free to put him on another base, on another Ork war boss. That's one of the main reasons why I'd get this kit, is for this little Gretchen here. But yeah, this Ork boy is just chilling out at the back, reloading his super shotgun. And then you've got another Ork boy here with a gas canister that fires a normal squig launcher. You've got a normal one and then a heavy one, which has more of a tube, builds up more pressure, I guess, can fire bigger squigs. And then you've got this Gretchen struggling to hold down one of the squiggly beasts in the back, and they're all jam-packed. You can't fit any more in there. They're like sardines in a can, aren't they? Absolutely fantastic attention to detail. And then you've got the big squig launcher itself with a big fuel can. I think there's only one on one side, and that is about it. You've got this weird fly type parrot thing. I don't think that's needed. It looks a little bit orkanoid with the teeth, but I've never seen anything like it. You don't have to put it on there, it's completely optional, but they have on the box, so I thought I'd join in. Anyway, there you go. That's all the detail of this Squigbuggy. One of my favourite models because there's so much going on. It tells a story, and I love models that tell a story with all the things that's included with them. Let's jump on over to some size comparisons. First of all, I just want to do a comparison with the Booster Blaster, which is like a hot rod type vehicle. Similar kind of size, but the Squigbuggy is probably the largest out of all of these buggies. It's very, very thick model. The Shock Dragster will give it a run for its money in terms of the length. Yeah, it's got the length, but it doesn't have the girth. And then finally, we'll just compare it to the Deathkiller Wartrike, which is another quite large model. And there's not much in it, you see. I think the Squigbuggy just beats it to the post in terms of the size of it there. So it's one of the largest buggies that they do. Comparing it to the usual old models, I mean, this model has been around for many, many years, at least 13 years or so. You've got a truck. Yeah, it fits very, very well with the truck, with the spikes on the front and everything else that's going on. You know, if they did do more boxes of Squigs, I'm very tempted to start a Gloomspite Gits army. I would put a load in the back there. I don't like the look that it's just empty and it's a truck and it should have things in there. I might get some Squigs and put them in there. That'll be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Anyway, that's where it sizes up with the truck, and compared to a gun wagon right here, definitely holds its own. You can imagine two of these things flanking it. That would be brilliant. And you've got this big battle fortress thing charging its way forward through the enemy. Compared to the standard models, you've got an Ork boy there, and you've got a war boss, and then a Gretchen. So yeah, you can't really fit a Gretchen on, but you could definitely pop this off the base and have him on there. You know, if you've got the Gretchen kit or Gretchens from other Ork models, you can quite easily accompany these on this model quite nicely. Oh well, especially on that back area there. But that's where it stands up compared to the other models. It works very well with them. Just because I've done this size comparison with all of the other Ork model reviews, I might as well just put the Ork Stomper there, and that's where it sizes up. Yeah, again, it's a lot smaller than a Stomper, but that just adds to the effect of how big the Stomper is if you've got loads of these buggies milling around it. And finally, the last three size comparisons I like to make is just with a standard Space Marine, Primaris and Sly Marbo. This time the Primaris is looking a bit small because of the height of this truck. You know, even on the same footing, I guess. But yeah, this truck does show a lot of presence. It barely fits on the base, and it's going to not dwarf the Primaris, but it's definitely going to dwarf the normal Legacy Space Marines, and Imperial Guard just are going to look tiny next to this big truck coming towards them full of Squigs. Don't know whether to laugh or to run away. I'd probably run away. I know how vicious Squigs are. And describing Squigs in that way leads me very nicely onto the rules for the Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. I guess you can guess which section you'd find the Squigbuggy in. Yeah, that's right, it's the fast attack section. It's the most expensive out of all of the buggies. It's a power points cost of 7 and a points cost of 140. Very, very expensive for what it does. Well, let's describe what it does. What do you get for these points then? Well, it's a movement of 10 inches, making it the slowest along with the scrapjet, unfortunately. The weapon skill is 4+, ballistic skill 5+, strength 5, toughness 6, 9 wounds, 4 attacks, leadership 6 and a save of 4+. So it's still got the same number of wounds as the scrapjet, which is slightly more than the other buggies. The unit contains one Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. It can include one additional Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy for a power rating of +7, or 2 additional Rukkatrukk Squigbuggies for a power rating of +14. Each model is equipped with a heavy Squig launcher and saw blades, and each model's crew is armed with a Squig launcher, shotgun and stick Squigs. So it's nice that you can have 3 in one fast attack choice. So what does this heavy Squig launcher do? Well, when attacking with the weapon, you choose one of the profiles below. So you've got 3 options: the Bile Squig, the Bitey Squig and the Boom Squig. So the Bile Squig, it's a range 36 inches, assault 2d6, doesn't have a strength, doesn't have an AP, but it does have a damage of 1. The weapon always wounds on a 4+ unless it is targeting a vehicle or a Titanic unit, in which case it wounds on a 6+. So it's nice that it can still wound vehicles and Titanic units, but everything else, it's a 50-50 chance that it's going to wound. That's all right, considering you're going to get potentially 12 shots with it. The Bitey Squig, same range, 36 inches, assault 2, strength 5, AP -3 and a damage of 2. That's fantastic. I think you'll be using that against Space Marines and other heavily armoured armies. Then the Boom Squig, again same range, 36 inches, assault 2d3, so possible 6 shots, strength 6, AP -1 and damage of d3. So that's a tricky one, because you could go for that one, which has a strength 6 and potentially damage d3, or just go for the Bile Squig and then you're wounding on a 50-50. It's an interesting one because you can go for possibly 12 shots that will definitely wound on a 4+, or you can go for possibly 6 shots and then they've got that strength of 6, but they're likely to do more damage. Shotgun, so 12-inch, assault 2, strength 3, AP 0 and a damage of 1, but if the target is within half range, you add 1 to this weapon's strength. That's nice. You are only getting strength 4 at the end of the day though. And then the Squig launcher. It works exactly the same as the heavy squig launcher, except you're getting half the number of shots. So for the bar squig, it's assault D6 instead of 2D6, and it still has the ability where it wounds on a 4+. The bitey squig is just 1 shot, and the boom squig is only assault D3, so potentially 3 shots. The stick squig, it's a 6-inch grenade D6, strength 3, AP 0 and damage 1. And then the saw blades is a melee weapon, +1 strength, so that's strength 6, AP -1 and damage of 1. That's alright. I mean, I wouldn't rely on this vehicle in close combat at all. Its effective range is 46 inches, so it's one of the longest ranged buggies. You can bop about the battlefield, launching those squigs 36 inches away, which is absolutely ridiculous compared to the rocket cannon, which is a much lower range and things like that. I mean, these squig launchers must be firing these squigs such a distance. I would go as far as to say the squigs are potentially aerodynamic. Okay, abilities. Here we go. Mob rule, Daka Daka Daka, speed mob. And it's got Grot Gunner, so add 1 to the hit rolls for attacks made with this model's heavy squig launcher. That's fantastic. That means that it's going to be 4+ to hit. Riding Shotgun, when this model shoots, it can throw a grenade and shoot with its pistols in addition to any other weapons. And Explodes. If this model is reduced to 0 wounds, roll a d6. On a 6 it explodes and each unit within 3 inches suffers d3 mortal wounds. That works as usual. And then Squig Mine, which I do have somewhere. I've just forgotten where it's got to, but you do get a little squig mine which you can put on the back here, and I think I will add that on there straight after this review. But once per battle in the movement phase, this model can deploy a squig mine. At any point during this model's move, place the squig mine within 1 inches of it and more than 3 inches from any enemy models. The squig mine is represented by the squig mine model, but does not count as a model for any rules purposes. From the start of the next phase, that squig mine is detonated if any unit, friend or foe, moves within 3 inches of it. Resolve the detonation after the unit that detonated it has ended its move. When a squig mine is detonated, roll a d6. On a 2 to 3, it inflicts 1 mortal wound on the unit that detonated it. On a 4 to 5, it inflicts d3 mortal wounds on the unit that detonated it. And on a 6, it inflicts 3 mortal wounds on the unit that detonated it. The squig mine is then removed from the battlefield, so don't overlook the squig mines. Fire them off as quick as you can for enemy units. The only downside for this is you're kind of negating one of its strengths in its effective range of 46 inches. So dropping off the squig mines is a tricky business because you're only moving 10 inches per turn, unless you also advance, and your opponent will most likely ask you what on earth you just plopped out of the back of your squig buggy. You'll tell them that it's a squig mine and then they'll just keep their distance of 3 inches away. Nobody wants to be affected by mortal wounds from stepping on a mine that they can easily see and avoid. But it's a fun little narrative game mechanic. The keywords: Ork, Vehicle, Speed Freaks, Rukkatrukk Squigbuggies. So there you go, my favourite of all of the buggies, right here in the form of the Rukkatrukk Squigbuggy. I think it's a fantastic model. I think it's awesome that it can just launch these squigs from such a distance. It's so funny, it's very orky, one of my favourite models. What do you guys think of the Squigbuggy? Do you not leave home without a minimum of 3? Please do put that in the comments below if that's the case. Thank you ever so much for joining me today. Thank you for watching. For Gork and Mork.